I watched a YouTube video talking about how to grow your YouTube channel, and one of the things it said was record and upload a video in 24 hours. No excuses. So here I am doing this video. So, not going on the script, not typical to some of the other videos I've made here on the channel. So, as you guys may or may not know, I am an attorney, I'm a business lawyer, and I have a business called Founders Council where we help protect business owners. But in this video, I want to talk about something different. I want to talk about actually growing a business because this is something that I'm increasingly becoming a lot more passionate about, especially over the course of growing my own business. I've learned a lot of different things that I want to be able to share with whoever watches this channel and whoever wants to hear about it. So, in this video, we're going to talk about how to grow a traditional business to $100,000 a year plus. The reason why we're not going to say how to grow a seven-figure business or a multi six-figure business is because I have not done that yet. So I cannot, teach or share that which I don't know. I know it theoretically, but I have not actually done it, so I'm not going to pretend that I have. So I think one of the limiting beliefs that I had when I first got started, so reason why it's called traditional business because I am a lawyer. So it's definitely seen more as like a brick and mortar company, whereas nowadays what's flashed online is usually online companies, a lot of social media marketing agencies, which I think are great by the way. Social media marketing agencies, content companies, just a lot of I don't know, I guess like new age businesses that it's not true, but I think they're sold as being easier to grow. So I'm calling my business a more traditional business because I think I had limiting beliefs, not when I got started, which we're going to segue into, but as I've grown it, I think I've had limiting beliefs being, oh, imagine if I was just in a different opportunity vehicle, not something so traditional. But again, I believe that's a limiting belief and it's not true. And to segue into what we're about to talk about, every business is the same. It's got like a fancy little thing here. Okay, so yeah, step one in actually getting started. So I think being naive was a good thing. I started my business right out of law school, and everybody will tell you that you should not do that, that that's a crazy thing to do. Um, I was naive and I thought, hey, if other people can do it, why can't I do it? And yeah, it's true. Everything's going well. Everything's going great right now, actually, which I'm very thankful about. It wasn't in the beginning, but it was very hard in the beginning, but that's why I think being naive was good because that naivety that I had, naivete, I don't know how you pronounce it, that I had in the beginning was what got me to take that leap. So if I wasn't so naive getting started, I don't think I would have, ripped that band-aid off and gone through those first couple months, which are really difficult. And, a lot of law students or lawyers, they begin their career with debt. And so I'm not an exception to that rule. So I also had debts to pay off when I first started my business. So it was a lot of compounding things because I started my business essentially with no clients. So yes, being naive was good. And I'm sure a lot of you who are in the process of starting businesses, or maybe you've built a business, maybe you feel the same way, knowing how hard it actually is. Um, Another thing, do not overvalue automation. I think in today's day and age, especially with the advent of AI, people are going crazy over automation. Oh, AI, chatbot, ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT is excellent. It has a place in your business, especially from a social media perspective. Um, but don't overvalue automation because your ability to actually get in the trenches, connect with your clients, be the face of your company, actually doing the work, getting on the sales calls yourself, doing the nurturing, whether you're messaging with prospects, that's a huge competitive advantage because at the end of the day, you have to think about how can you compete with the giants in your industry that are already dominating. Um, so for me, I do about $100,000 a year. I can compete with a multi-million or even a multi-billion dollar company because I can actually get in there and speak with my prospects and they can start to think, oh my gosh, this guy's like really values me as a client. He's an attorney and I know his time's valuable, but he's making time out of his day to jump on the phone with me, to give me free advice. And I think that goes a really long way when it comes to growing a new business and really leveraging your competitive advantage. So don't overvalue automation, especially right now because it's a very hot topic. Number three, learn a skill and then sell the implementation of that skill. A lot of people talk about drop shipping or selling physical products. I've never done that myself, so I'm not going to speak about it. Um, but I do know that that's a lot more challenging of a road to go down than selling a service-based business. If you have a skill, whether it's fitness, sales, you can teach people marketing, you can teach, there's a lot of things you can teach. And if you're teaching something or you're doing something for someone else, you are providing them a service. So learn a skill, whatever that skill may be. For me, it's law. Learn a skill and then sell the implementation of that skill to your ideal customer. Also get clear in who your ideal customer is. For me, that's taken a lot of twists and turns over the duration of my business so far, but I have found that I prefer to work with existing business owners rather than people who are just getting started out for a variety of reasons. But yeah, something to think about is what is your skill? Who is the ideal customer to sell that skill to? And how does your skill mesh with that customer? Because that can also give you a better idea of who your ideal customers and who you should be going after um, should be, because your skill needs to align with their needs. So for me, I think what I'm best at is helping existing business owners navigate legal issues, specifically through asset protection, through contracts, a lot of employment law. I really like working with business owners that have employees. So my ideal customer is going to be someone who has sufficient assets that need protecting, have enough employees that there are enough ongoing legal issues that there needs to actually be some implementation of contracts, protections, and ongoing advice. Okay, number four, sell your time. I think that people, especially in the online space, they're so against selling your time. Value your time, value your time. Well, you can really only value your time once it becomes exceedingly valuable. So if you sell your service for, let's say, $200 an hour, and when you do the calculation, your time's not worth more than $200 an hour, then you shouldn't be so obsessed with not selling your time. So yes, your time is valuable. It's probably our most valuable resource because it's the only thing we can't, buy or we can't get it back. We can always make more money. But when you're first getting started, you got to sell your time, because until your time actually achieves a value that exceeds your hourly rate, which is then when you should hire someone, you should be getting in the trenches. And again, it goes back to number two, don't overvalue automation. Get in the trenches, sell your time, connect with your customers, especially when you're first starting out, because it's really going to fast track your growth, not only the growth of your business, but the growth of your skills, which gets into the next two. All businesses are the same. So when I said traditional business, I guess maybe that was clickbait or something. Um, but yes, all businesses are the same, with a caveat. There are really two types of businesses. You either sell services or you sell goods. So all service-based businesses are the same. Why? Because they have a similar implementation process. You have a skill, you're selling that skill, you're selling that service. Um, and every business, no matter whether you're an attorney, no matter whether you sell insurance, no matter whether you are a marketing company, whatever it is that you do, you need to market, you need to generate leads. You need to nurture those leads. You need to get them to know, like, and trust you, and then you need to sell them. So you have to, in order to build a business, regardless of what business it is, you have to develop the same processes in order to see success and grow. I think before I started a business, I was just a lawyer. So I figured, hey, I'm a lawyer. People are just going to come to me and they're going to want to hire me and they're going to want to work with me just because I'm a lawyer and I spent all this money on 7 years of education. Well, it's not true. You have to prospect, you have to cold call, you have to outreach, you have to email people, you have to talk with them, you have to nurture them, you have to, sell them essentially. And so that goes into the final point where learn sales. Obviously, the first step is to have a skill that you can actually sell to someone. Well, what's just as important to that is knowing how to sell them. So really every business has two components. There's fulfillment and there's sales. Fulfillment is where you actually do your service and you showcase your expertise and you achieve a certain outcome and result for your client. Well, the sales process is when you actually have to sell the client or the customer as to why they should hire you. And I think sales isn't like Wolf of Wall Street, what we think it is, like sell me this pen and like high pressure, and we get them on the phone, we cold call them, and here's why you should work with me. I think sales is really a cycle. It's an entire process. So I think the sale begins when the prospect first sees you. So if you're running Facebook ads, the sale begins when that prospect first sees your ad. That begins the sales process because they opt into that ad. Let's say you're collecting email and phone number for giving them a free training, which is something you should definitely do. And that kind of goes back. I don't want to rant here, but we're not on a script, so let's kind of double back here. So the part of overvaluing automation. When I first started my business, I hit a huge sticking point because I was trying to automate everything. I was running Facebook ads and I was trying to send them to a landing page, and I wasn't giving anything of value. I was just saying, hey, go to the landing page, watch my VSL, and if you like what I do and this seems interesting, book a call. But my advertisement was very vague. It was just, hey, I'm an attorney. Here's what we do. Here's why you should work with me. And one of my mentors, who's also a good friend of mine, he told me, dude, you got to scale back the automation. You need to give something away. And so as soon as I started giving away a free training or a free resource, bam, I had leads flooding my pipeline. And then my iterations from that is an entirely different video of how we got those leads, how we went from no leads to the leads suck to then making them quality. But yeah, maybe I'll make a different video on that. And I plan on doing these a lot more often. But yeah, here I just wanted to cover what were like the foundations of actually scaling a business to 100,000. These are some of the beliefs and not core values, but yeah, some of the beliefs that you need to have and some of the things to understand in order to get your business from 0 to 100,000. Here's that fancy flip. Okay. Step two, once you have all those basics down, you've learned sales, you have a skill to sell to people, you understand that, hey, when I'm first starting out, maybe my time's not that valuable really, and also maybe I shouldn't overvalue automation. I should give things away and again, get in the trenches. Instead of sending someone to a landing page, why don't you run a messenger ad, have them message you, and then you get in there and you talk to them. I guarantee you that's going to help you out a lot because I know that it did for me. Again, I'm only speaking from experience here. But yeah, step two is define an acquisition channel and a sales process. So when you're first starting out, you're just throwing everything at the wall and you're hoping that something sticks. For me, that was Facebook ads. That was what I first tried. So I was like banging my head against the wall. Got to do the Facebook ads. Got to do the Facebook ads. And I saw some success with that, but that's not where I'm at right now. I've guess not graduated, but I just figured out that Facebook ads is not what worked best for my business. So throughout the process of getting to 100,000, you're going to define an acquisition channel, and you have to do different things: Facebook ads, cold email, cold outreach, cold calling, buying lead lists. You need to try different acquisition channels and see what works because one of them will work for you. You just can't give up on the way to getting there. And actually, I want to jump ahead here and talk about your customers are your best marketing. So that kind of ties into building out your acquisition channel and your sales process. Remember that when you acquire a customer, if you treat that customer well and you get a good result for them, that customer is going to be better marketing for you than any Facebook ad, any sales process, any, Wolf of Wall Street sales tactic that you can learn. Because that customer is not only going to come back to you for further business and ask you for more services when they need help, but they're also going to refer people to you because they trust you, they like you, and you help them out so much that they're going to refer somebody. And I mean, if you really think about it, that's all profit. So when you're operating an acquisition channel, you're spending some sort of money to actually acquire these customers, whether it's you're paying Zuckerberg and Facebook, you're paying for a lead list, you're paying a VA to scrape those leads, to reach out to them, or you're paying with your own time by going in there and messaging people yourself. So all those things cost money as opposed to the compounding goodwill of your customers. That's all profit. The only thing you had to do was do a great job for them on the front end, and they can essentially pay you dividends for the rest of the time that you're in business. So yeah, with that out of the way, remember, it's not all about a fancy Facebook ad or the right cold email sequence. I think really the most basic thing that is not spoken about enough is focus on the customers you already have because they can feed you for a lifetime. Now let's talk about scaling. So I think, and this is where I'm at right now in my business, I'm starting to realize that between fulfillment and then doing the sales process, I need to buy some of my time back because as my business grows, my quote unquote hourly rate has increased. So I need to now start thinking about hiring out those lower leverage tasks. And that's how you start to scale because you only have so many hours in a day. You can only do so much client work. You can only do so many follow ups and sales calls, and you can only do so much prospecting and outreach. So as you start to expand, it's inevitable that you're going to have to go and take the lowest leverage tasks and start hiring them. And what I mean by low leverage is like, these are the things that cost the least for your time. So um, you could hire a VA for $5 an hour to message people. And so if I charge clients $300 an hour, it doesn't make sense for me to start messaging because once my, I guess, calendar or my roster is full, now that $5 an hour task is a really bad return on my time. So as you start to scale, think about that. What are the lowest leverage things that you're doing and hire them out? For me, for example, probably the last thing I would hire, last aspect of my business that I would hire out would be another attorney. Why? Because that's the highest leverage thing that I can do, and it's also the most important to me. So I'll probably hire that last, and we're at 100K now. I think that would probably be around, I don't know, maybe 300. Um, Depends on what an attorney is going to cost me, and sometimes they're not cheap, especially if they're good. And yeah, so maintaining fulfillment and quality, that kind of ties into the fact that your customers are your best marketing. The most important thing you could do is fulfill and provide a quality service for your clients. Be responsive, be attentive, show up for them. If they call you, pick up the phone, and if you're busy, tell them you'll call them back the second you get an opportunity. And that goes back to what we also talked about is don't overly automate. Do a killer job for your clients, show them that you're there, show them that you're showing up for them, and give them a really quality service because that is going to be that's going to pay out the biggest dividends in the long run because those people are going to come back to you for services and they're going to refer you to other people, and that's time and money you're not spending on level one, which is getting in the trenches of your acquisition channel. So do a killer job for your customers. That's the most important thing that you can do. And I think when I was first starting out, when you're a solopreneur, you really are getting um, pulled in two directions between sales and fulfillment. And so sometimes I would spend an entire day doing sales and then be like, oh my gosh, but I have to now fulfill for the rest of the week and now I'm behind. So honestly, sometimes it's better to go slower, make less sales, and do a better job for your customers. So I hope this helps, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I know I really liked making it because I'm becoming ever more passionate about this whole idea of actually growing a business. And the reason why we're focused on only 100,000 is because that's the farthest I've grown my business to this point, and I don't want to talk about things that I don't know. So I wish you a great rest of your day, rest of the weekend, wherever it is that you are in your week. And yeah, why don't you comment below something you learned from this video? And yeah, let's connect. I'll 100% reply back to you. Alrighty, take care.